Yeah, so let's start. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shvapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayite girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. So last week we covered up to verse 13. So the chapter is titled Modes. Modes determine the different modes. Modes determine one's faith. Faith means what one believes or accepts as truth. Right? And modes also determine one's activities. So just by looking at person's interests, person's activities, we can understand what predominant mode he is in, right? Because we are always constantly influenced by modes. Based on our mode, we worship certain things. Based on the modes we are in, we are interested in certain foods and we perform certain sacrifices in a certain way. So in this way, modes are very determining our style of functioning in this world. And there are foods in the modes. We discussed any food that is juicy, when you eat, you should feel very relaxed. That kind of food is in mode of goodness. And if it is very very what do you say, very pungent, bitter, those are foods in the mode of passion. Sometimes we eat some food, but it's very burning in the stomach. So those are all foods in the mode of passion. Some people like that food, and some people like food that is stale, which is full of like liquor, for example, it is stored for a long time, right? So foods which are putrid, smelling bad, some people like that, right? So that is mode of ignorance. So like that, everything we eat also is in different modes. People in the mode of goodness like food in the mode of goodness. People in the mode of passion like to eat more food in the mode of passion. And people in the mode of ignorance like to eat the foods in the mode of ignorance. So what it means is that if you want to take to spiritual path, you need to at least align to food in the mode of goodness, right? Rice, dals, vegetables, healthy and wholesome foods, milk. So these are all very good. They nourish our body, and it will not make you lazy. It keeps you alert, and it is disease free. And gives you good health, right? So that is all in the mode of goodness. So those who are practicing spiritual life, they should stick to foods in the mode of goodness. So similarly, the sacrifices in the different modes. So sacrifices in the mode of goodness is like yajnas, right? Like this, if you see the picture here. So these mode of goodness sacrifices are performed according to Agama Sastras. The Agama Sastras tell how to perform a particular sacrifice or ritual, right? So, and predominantly it is Vishnu worship, right? So, according to direction of scriptures, performed as a matter of duty, not desiring any result out of it. As a human being, we are advanced in consciousness, and it is our duty to perform sacrifice for the well-being of ourselves and the world around. So that is the motivation. It is not for selfish motivation. So that is performing as a matter of duty. And then sacrifice in the mode of passion, right? Doing a sacrifice means doing some kind of a vrata or puja or something for some material benefit, right? So that you get something in return from either the demigod or god, whoever it is, right? So here he is worshipping Varunadeva so that he gets rains, or he's worshipping Surya Deva so that he gets sunlight for his crop. This is seeking some material profit. So this is in the mode of passion, right? And it is generally done for the sake of pride. One wants to show that he is great, right? Mode of goodness means no pride. Mode of passion means there is pride and done for some material benefit. And mode of ignorance means, you see here, it does not follow any scriptural injunctions. Means you do according to whatever comes to your mind. It's not prescribed in the scriptures, right? Without distributing any prasadam. Right? At the end of the sacrifice, there is no distribution of prasadam. And there is no chanting of the Vedic mantras. And there is no remuneration to the priests. Means priests are not taken care. And there is no real faith in this whole process. Right? See, sometimes some people perform animal sacrifices without following any, scriptural guidance. Right? So that is all in the mode of ignorance. And then austerity in the mode of good, in the different modes. So we'll read the verses 14 to 19. Devadvija Guru Prajna
Devadvija Guru Prajna
Pujanam Sauchamarjavam
Pujanam Shaucham Arjavam
Brahmacharyam Ahimsa cha
Brahmacharyam Ahimsa cha
Viram Tapa Uchyate.
Shriram Tapa Uchyate.
Tapa Uchyate.
Please read.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmas, the spiritual master, and the superiors like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. What is celibacy, Prabhuji?
Celibacy means basically not losing one's vital fluids. Celibacy means brahmacharya, right? Some people take this vow to not marry. Yeah. So that is celibacy.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Thank you.
In India, even today, some people stay in brahmacharya. They don't marry, and after that, they want to dedicate their life entirely for God, right? And service of humanity at large. So that is celibacy. So austerity of the body means worship of the Supreme Lord. So mainly, it should not be worship of any other demigods. Brahmanas means one who is a true Brahmana, means one who is Brahmajanati iti Brahmana, means one who is focused on the absolute truth, right? Not just ritualistic Brahmanas that we see in temples or here and there, who know some mantras and who can do some pujas. They're not really, they're called Smartha Brahmanas. Smartha Brahmanas means those who are Brahmanas by profession or caste, born in a Brahmana family. Those are not real Brahmanas. Many of these Brahmanas, they are not inquisitive about studying Bhagavad Gita like you all. If you ask them, they learn their mantras so that they can use that as a method of living, right? Or some participation in some pujas like that. So, but they are not interested in understanding who is God, what is my relation, why am I here. Those are all questions that are asked by true Brahmanas. True Brahmana is one who is inquisitive about God and want to attain God, right? So who is interested in yoga, connecting with God. So that is a true Brahmana, right? So one who worships Supreme Lord, Krishna, Vishnu, Rama, Narasimha, or worships Brahmanas, the spiritual master or guru, and superiors like father and mother. One should worship our parents because they have given us the body, right? Without this body, you cannot perform anything. You cannot perform worship of Supreme Lord. So even Lord Chaitanya, when he was in this world, uh, he would not ever violate his mother's instructions at any cost. And he would do everything only after his mother accepts it, wholeheartedly. So that is uh, superior. So one should worship superiors like father and mother. And in cleanliness means is always clean, right? Both outside as inside. Outside by taking bath, and then inside, how can we keep our mind clean? Anybody want to answer? How can we keep our mind clean?
With chanting.
Chanting.
Yes, chanting is the method to cleanse the mirror of mind. And then simplicity. Simplicity is without any duplicity, means whatever you are inside, you are outside also same. You don't want like you don't want to show off. Your life is simple. You don't depend on I need this to be happy, I need this to be happy. You're happy with whatever you have. That is simplicity. Celibacy means brahmacharya. So one preferably even married people can stay celibate, right? So it is also recommended that after having children, that's all. There is no. It's the genitals should not be used for one's enjoyment, right? So that's not the purpose. They are created in the body, in the human body, so that the progeny can happen and the generations can continue. That is the only purpose of it. It's not meant for sense gratification. So that is celibacy, especially after, strictly after 50 years. No, that is ideal for especially spiritual practitioners to stay celibate. Non-violence. Non-violence, not harming anybody. True non-violence is is actually sharing Krishna consciousness with others. Why? Why one should share Krishna consciousness with others? If you don't, then what happens to the person? He is going to die. He's going to come back to this world again, right? So it's a violence. So studying Bhagavad Gita and understanding the purpose of life, and going back to Krishna is the real purpose of life. But even after knowing that, and not everybody is interested, but for those who might have some inkling or interest, we should try to help them, right? So that is true practice of non-violence. Non-violence is not just physical, it is also spiritual. So like that. Yeah. So please read this, Mataji. This is a very nice purport.
The Supreme Godhead here explains the different kinds of austerity and penance. First, he explains the austerities and penances practiced by the body. One should offer or learn to offer respect to God or to the demigods, the perfect qualified Brahmanas, and the spiritual master, and the superiors like father, mother, and any person who is conversant with the Vedic knowledge. These should be given proper respect. One should practice cleansing oneself externally and internally, and he should learn to become simple in behavior. He should not do anything which is not sanctioned by the scriptural injunctions. He should not indulge in sex outside of married life, for sex is sanctioned in the scripture only in marriage, not otherwise. This is called celibacy. These are penances and austerities as far as the body is concerned.
Yeah. Anudvega karam vakyam
Anudvegakaram vakyam
satyam priyahitam chayat
satyam priyahitam chayat
swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva
svadhyaya chaiva
vanmayam tapa uchyate.
vanmayam tapa uchyate.
Please read.
Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not hesitating to others, and also regularly reciting Vedic literature.
Austerity of speech means the words we speech mean they can make or break relations. So one should speak very carefully. So first criteria is one should speak only truth. So I mean, what tactfully truthful. So for example, if somebody is some person is trying to attack somebody, and that person came and sheltered at your home, the person who is getting attacked, you cannot inform the person who is trying to attack if the person hiding is at your home, right? So that is so tactfully truthful. So it doesn't mean we take advantage of it, but as far as possible, one should speak truth for doing the good. So then pleasing means one should, whatever one speaks should be pleasant in nature, right? It should not be sarcastic, shouldn't be causing pain for others, anxiety to others. It should be very pleasant. A devotee generally speaks very pleasantly because he sees that everybody's is actually property of Krishna. So I want to please them, because by pleasing them, Krishna is pleased. That's how they see. Beneficial right? Whatever we speak should really help or benefit others. It should not, be other way. It should not cause problems for others, right? Whatever we speak, it should not be a lie. It should not cause anxiety. It should not cause loss, right? It should be beneficial, and it should not be agitating. Sometimes we speak in a way such that they get anxiety. Whoever hears whatever we speak, because we are in agitated mind. So whatever we speak will be agitating to others. So passing our anxiety to others, right? So that we should not do, right? So it should not be giving agitation to others. And also in regularly reciting Vedic literature, like Bhagavad Gita. So we should study some, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. The home where Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita is studied on a daily basis, Krishna is present in their home very actively. You can see the difference in your life immediately. There is no way Maya can enter your home. So that is a very important instruction. So one should regularly recite. Just by reading, you don't know what is the effect of it. It has its own special effect on your life and your home and your family. Just sit together and read, or just read yourself if nobody else is there. There is going to be a magnificent difference in your life, because Krishna is acting in your life. There is no influence of Kali Yuga. So this is a Kali Yuga, right? Kali Yuga means very dark age. People are always in stress. That is the first symptom of Kali Yuga. But the home where Gita is recited, Bhagavatam is recited, Kali's influence is nil, and there is all auspiciousness, Shubhada. Shubhada is the first benefit where Bhagavatam and chanting is performed. Harinam is, wherever Harinam is there is Shubhada. Shubhada means all auspiciousness is there in their family and life. Right? So that is the first benefit. Yeah. Please read.
One should not speak in such a way as to agitate the minds of others. Of course, when a teacher speaks, he can speak the truth for the instruction of his students. But such a teacher should not speak to those who are not his students if he will agitate their minds. This is penance as far as talking is concerned. Besides that, one should not talk nonsense. The process of speaking in spiritual circles is to say something upheld by the scriptures. One should at once quote from scriptural authority to back up what he is saying. At the same time, such talk should be very pleasurable to the ear. By such discussions, one may derive the highest benefit and elevate human society. There is a limitless stock of Vedic literature, and one should study this. This is called penance.
Penance of speech. Yeah. Manah prasada saumyatvam.
Manah
Prasada
prasada
saumyatvam.
saumyatvam.
Maunam atma vinigraha.
Maunam atma vinigraha.
Bhava samsuddhir itietat.
Bhava samsuddhir ityeta.
Tapomana samucchate.
Tapomana samuchyate.
And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind.
Satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of mind. Yeah. So one should be satisfied with what. So Prabhupada explains very nicely. Anyway, we can read it. So these are self-explanatory, but Prabhupada explains in this purport beautifully. Please read. Mataji?
To make the mind austere is to detach it from sense gratification. It should be so trained that it can be always thinking of good, doing good for others. The best training for the mind is gravity in thought. One should not deviate from Krishna consciousness and must always avoid sense gratification. To purify one's nature is to become Krishna conscious. Satisfaction of mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from the thoughts of sense enjoyment. The more we think of sense enjoyment, the more the mind becomes dissatisfied. In the present age, we unnecessarily engage the mind in so many different ways for sense gratification, and so there is no possibility of minds becoming satisfied. The best course is to divert the mind to Vedic literature, which is full of satisfying stories, as in the Puranas and Mahabharata. One can take advantage of this knowledge and thus become purified. The mind should be devoid of duplicity, and one should think of welfare of all. Silence means that one is always thinking of self-realization. The person in Krishna consciousness observes perfect silence in this sense. Control of the mind means detaching the mind from sense enjoyment. One should be straightforward in his dealings and thereby purify his existence. All these qualities together constitute austerity in mental activities.
One should be straightforward in his dealings, very straightforward. He should not have, crooked dealings, diplomacy. Those are not for, people who are on the path of self-realization. No crookedness, it's very straightforward, simple life. They don't want too many things. Just lead, this one lifetime is a means for achieving perfection. That's all. Yeah, so mind should be satisfied. The best way course is to read Vedic literature, right? Because if you ever read Krishna's story before you sleep, you understand what I'm saying. It's very satisfying. Just read one story of Krishna before you sleep. You can see the difference in your life. You will have very nice sleep, and in the morning you will wake up fresh with Krishna's thoughts, and your day will be extremely good. So one can take advantage of this knowledge and thus become purified. The mind should be devoid of duplicity, and one should think of welfare of all. If you are not satisfied in your mind, how can you think about welfare of others, right? So we can think about others' welfare only when we are satisfied. So it's a very important principle. Silence means that one is always thinking of self-realization. The person in Krishna consciousness observes perfect silence in this sense. A devotee, practices perfect silence. Control of mind means detaching the mind from sense enjoyment. Shraddhaya paraya taptam
Shraddhaya paraya taptam
tapastat trividham harai
tapastat trividham harai
apalat kakshibhir yuktai apalat
apalakanshibhir yuktai
satvikam parichashkate.
satvakam parishashyate.
Anybody?
This threefold austerity, performed with transcendental faith by men, not expecting material benefits, but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme, is called austerity in goodness.
So, if you perform an austerity, like you practice to say Ekadasi, every 15 days we get Ekadasi, monthly twice, wherein you do not eat grains. You eat, some sabudana khichdi, or there are a few things which are acceptable, which are not made of grains. So you eat simple, but focus more on, chanting the holy name, reading scripture, like that spiritual activities and sadhana. So if you do like that without expecting anything, there is no, oh, I'm doing this because I want to, get a bigger home or get a better salary, or without any material desire. If one performs that, only for the sake of Supreme, that austerity is in the mode of goodness. No expectation, only for the satisfaction of God. So such activities, mode of goodness. Shakkaramana pujardham
Shatkaramana
Karamana
pujartham
pujartha
apodhambhena chaiva yat
tapodambena
Tapo
chaiva
Dhamena Chaiva
kriyate
Chaivatam
tadhiha proktam
kriyate
Kriyate Tad
tadikam
Iha Proktam
rajasam chalamadhruvam.
Rajasam
Rajasam Chalam
Chalam
Adruvam.
Please read.
Penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent.
Penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect. Some people perform different sacrifices, but their goal is not to please God, but their goal is to please their own ego. Ego means, oh, I am big, so I am performing this sacrifice. Nobody can perform better than me, and everybody should respect me because I did this yajna, puja, vrata, right? Just for gaining some name, fame, glory. That is in the mode of passion, because the goal is not to please God, but it is to please your own ego. So what happens? The result is not stable, not permanent. It is temporary. Whatever you gain through that, you will lose it very soon. Yeah.
Sometimes penance and austerity are executed to attract people and receive honor, respect, and worship from others. Persons in the mode of passion arrange to be worshipped by subordinates and let them wash their feet and offer riches. Such arrangements artificially made by the performance of penances are considered to be in the mode of passion. The results are temporary, they can be continued for some time, but they are not permanent.
Muda grahen manoyat grahetatmanoyat grahenatmano
Muda grahena
Muda
manoya
Grahenat Manoyat.
pidaya kriyate tapa
pidaya
Vidaya
kriyate
Kriyate
tapa
Tapa.
parasyotsadhanardham va
Parasyosadhanartham
parasyosadhanartham
Vacha.
tattamosam udahritam.
tattamasam
Tattamasam
udahritam.
Udatim.
Yeah, please read.
Penance performed out of foolishness with self-torture or to destroy or injure others is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
One good example for this mode of passion, out of pride and gaining respect, I'll give you this example. In Hyderabad, they perform this Vinayak Puja, and at the time, different places they host Vinayaka bigger than the other cities. Like say Kukatpalli hosts the biggest Vinayaka than Jubilee Hills, something like that. So they
That's true, Prabhu. Yeah.
that is all done out of pride. And you know what they do? They
And they put the laddu and auction.
yeah, they
Is
put
that
laddu.
allowed, Prabhu?
No, that is so that is a puja performed without sanction of scriptures. Those are all human created ideas. And then more than all of that, they put some movie songs before Vinayaka and dance for that. That is all completely unbona fide. It's are you going to please Vinayaka by that? Absolutely not. You will Vinayaka is a brahmachari, and he's a great devotee of Lord Narsingadev. He's a great devotee of Narsimhadev. So now you are making him suffer like that. So by doing that, what happens is you are going to suffer. Actually, if you are going to be participating in such things, you're going to have negative reaction, because you're actually in a way torturing Lord by your foolish actions without knowing what you are doing. So that is mode of passion, right? And now mode of ignorance is even worse. Performed out of foolishness with self-torture or destroy or injure others. Others or self is to be in the mode of ignorance. So this is like austerity. Like there are sometimes, some people perform nirahar diksha. That means where they don't eat any food just to get whatever they want, right? That's all not sanctioned. And they do this for Rasta Roko or buns. These are all kind of activities which are cause injuries to others, destroy others' property, damage, right? So that is all austerity in the mode of ignorance. Austerity means you are basically, sacrificing something like your time, energy for that. But what is the goal of it? The goal is to actually cause more disturbance than benefit to everyone. So that is austerity in the mode of ignorance. Yeah, even in the past times, in the past, Hiranyakashipu performed the sacrifice where he performed without eating food for thousands of years, and his body became like bones, and there was a complete ant hill on his body. So that level of austerity Hiranyakashipu performed only for what? What is his goal? His goal is to become the most strongest in the entire all the three world. What kind of foolish goal is that? So that nobody can kill him. Right? So such kind of foolish desires are all in the mode of ignorance. You may get it, but it's going to be very short and temporary. Datavyam iti yaddanam
Datyam iti yaddanam
Danam
diyate anupakarine
diyate anupakare
Anupakarine
deshe kale cha patre cha
deshe
Deshe Kale
Precha
Patrecha
taddanam satvikam smitam.
Taddanam
Taddanam
satvicam
Satvicam
smritam.
Please read.
Charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place and to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness.
So now we discuss charity in the three modes. The first is the mode of goodness, austerity, performing according to scriptures, for the only for the pleasure of Vishnu. Mode of passion is doing out of pride. Mode of ignorance is austerity, is self-torture or torturing others. Right? So now we are discussing about charity. Charity means giving, some dravya or donation to others, right? So giving something that you have, God has given you, to somebody else's benefit. So that is called charity. Yeah, charity when it is given, if it is given only like it is my duty. God has given me so much, so it is now my duty to give it to others, distribute to others, because everybody is child of God. So it is my duty to make sure everybody gets the share of God's wealth. So that is the mode of goodness. Charity given out of duty, without expecting any return, not expecting anything in return. at the proper time, place, and to a worthy person. So all these are important. Is considered in the mode of goodness. So you have to give at the proper time, proper place, to worthy person. When you give a charity, suppose you give charity to a person on the roadside because he said, I need some money, and then you immediately gave the money, and he goes back and he will buy a drug or a cigarette and puff the cigarette. Now what happens? You gave with a very good intent, but the person took the money and bought a drug or a cigarette and enjoyed it. What happens if you do such action? You will get part reaction because of what he did. So part of the reaction for his cigarette also will come to you. So you will also have to suffer for his actions. So then how do we give charity? Can I not give anything to anybody whom I don't know? It's not like that. You have control on certain things. For example, you carry some prasadam with you, some bananas, fruits, or some sweets or biscuits, which are already offered to God, Krishna, right? And when you see some beggar, you can give him the prasadam. Ideally, he could eat. If he doesn't, even if he throws it out, it is okay. If there is no harm, there is no negative karma on you. You see the difference? So, and why did you do? You didn't do with any expectation. You did out of duty, and you gave at proper time, place, and circumstance. Proper time, place, and to the worthy person in the right way, right? So that is called in the mode of goodness. Yeah.
In the Vedic literature, charity given to a person engaged in spiritual activities is recommended. There is no recommendation for giving charity indiscriminately. Spiritual perfection is always a consideration. Therefore, charity is recommended to be given at a place of pilgrimage and at lunar or solar eclipses, or at the end of the month, or to a qualified Brahman or Vaishnav, or in temple. Such charities should be given without any consideration of return. Charity to the poor is sometimes given out of compassion, but if a poor man is not worth giving charity to, then there is no spiritual advancement. In other words, indiscriminate charity is not recommended in the Vedic literature.
You cannot just randomly give charity. Should consider the use and consider the spiritual advancement of the person always. Yattu prachupakarardham
Yattu
Yattu
pratyupakarantam
Pratyuparantam
dishyavapuna
phalam
Phalam
uddishya
Phalam
va
uddishya
punah
udyasava puna
techa pariklishtam
diyate
Diyate
cha
cha
diyate cha
parikshtam
parikshitam
taddanam rajasamsmritam.
taddam
taddanam
taddanam
rajasamsmritam.
rajasamsmritam.
Please read.
But charity performed with the expectation of some return, or with a desire for fruitive results, or in a grudging mood, is said to be charity in the mood of passion.
So if you expect something in return, right? You gave something, but your goal is something in return. I gave one coconut to God, but my goal is that I get some job or increase or some health benefit. Something you are seeking from God, right? So it is also charity, but it is not the ideal charity. It is charity in the mode of passion, right? Also, sometimes people give, but they're not happy to give. They're in a grudging mode. Oh, I have to give because otherwise they'll feel bad, or my name won't be there in that list, so I have to give. So that is not that is not going to be very pleasing. Even if it is given to God, it's not very pleasing to God. So that is all in the mode of passion. Yeah, please read.
Charity is sometimes performed for elevation to the heavenly kingdom, and sometimes with great trouble and with repentance afterwards. Why have I spent so much in this way? Charity is also sometimes given under some obligation at the request of a superior. These kinds of charity are said to be given in mode of passion.
Should never be feeling like an obligation. Oh, I have to give this. No. Adeshakale yaddanam
Adeshakale yaddanam
Yaddanam
apatrebhyascha diyate
Apatrebhyascha diyate
Diyate
satkritam avajñatam
Asatkrita
Asakritam
avajnatam
Avajnatam
tamasam udahritam.
Tattamasam
Tattamasam
Udahatam.
And charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons, or without proper attention and respect, is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
So impure place is not at all. Sometimes people go to bar and they give free drinks to others. That is like impure place. Improper time, midnight, for example, right? It's a charity, but in the mode of ignorance. To unworthy persons, this guy is drinking, right? So he's unworthy. So, or without proper attention and respect. So, when you are giving charity, you should see the other person is also the child of God, like that. So, there is divinity in the person. We should acknowledge that. So, without proper attention and respect is in the mode of ignorance. So, such charity is not at all good. Yeah, please read.
Contributions for indulgence in intoxication and gambling are not encouraged here. That sort of contribution is in the mode of ignorance. Such charity is not beneficial, rather, sinful persons are encouraged. Similarly, if a person gives charity to a suitable person, but without respect and without attention, that sort of charity is also said to be in the mode of darkness.
So if there is no respect, the person should be respected. So it should, suitable person is important, and there should be attention and respect, and right place, right? So all these are very important. Yeah. So we discussed charity in the three modes, right? Charity in the mode of goodness, given to the right person for the right cause without any expectation of return, doing it as a duty. And then if it is performed with some expectation of return and expectation of some fruitive results, sometimes in a grudging mood, that is passion. If it is given to unworthy, improper person, and without any respect to the person, without any attention, then it is ignorance. Om Tat Sat Iti Nirdesho
Om
Om
Tat
Tat
Sat
Sat Iti
Iti
Nirdesho
Nirdesho
Astri Vidha Smita
Brahmanastri
Brahmanastri
Vidasmita
Vidasmita
Ramanastena Vayadascha
Brahmanastena
Brahmanastena
Vedascha
Vedascha
Cha Vihita Pura.
Yajnascha
Yajnascha
Vihita Pura.
Vihitasura.
Please read.
From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymn of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme.
Om Tat Sat. Om represents the absolute truth, the Supreme Lord. And Tat means that Supreme Lord. Om Tat Sat. Sat means eternal, right? So that Supreme Lord is eternal. That's what this word means, right? So any chanting of mantras in the Vedic literature, in the Vedic yajnas or sacrifices, they always begin with this Om Tat Sat. The meaning is, whatever I am going to read now as part of the sacrifice, whatever I'm going to chant at this time, the hymns, they're all meant for satisfaction of the Supreme. So that is, so explicitly, expressing that, right? So if anybody does anything, whether it is austerity or charity or anything, but if it is done with that understanding that I am doing everything for absolute truth, then that is going to lead to the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. That's what this verse means. That is the reason the mantras always begin with Om. Why Om is there? Because the goal is defined in that. The goal is to satisfy Lord Krishna or the absolute truth. Yeah, please read.
It has been explained that penance, sacrifice, charity, and foods are divided into three categories: the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. But whether first class, second class, or third class, they are all conditioned, contaminated by the material modes of nature. When they are aimed at the Supreme Om Tat Sat, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Eternal, they become means for spiritual elevation. In the scriptural injunctions, such an objective is indicated. These three words, Om Tat Sat, particularly indicate the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Vedic literature, the word Om is always found.
Om is always there in the Vedic literature.
One who acts without following the regulations of the scriptures will not attain the absolute truth. He will get some temporary result, but not the ultimate end of life. The conclusion is that the performance of charity, sacrifice, and penance must be done in the mode of goodness. Performed in the mode of passion or ignorance, they are certainly inferior in quality. The three words Om Tat Sat are uttered in conjunction with the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Example Om
Tad Vishnu.
Om Tat Vishnu. Whenever a Vedic hymn or the holy name of the Supreme Lord is uttered, Om is added. This is the indication of Vedic literature. These three words are taken from Vedic hymns. Om Iti Itad Brahmano Nedistham Nad Nama. Nama indicates the first goal. Then Tattvam As. Tattvam As. Chandogya Upanishad indicates the second goal. And Sat Eva Somya indicates the third goal. Combined, they become Om Tat Sat. Formerly, when Brahma, the first created living entity, performed sacrifices, he indicated by these three words the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the same principles has always been followed by disciplic succession. So this hymn has great significance. Bhagavad Gita recommends, therefore, that any work done should be done for Om Tat Sat, or for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one performs penance, charity, and sacrifice with these three words, he is acting in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a scientific execution of transcendental activity activities which enables one to return home back to Godhead. There is no loss of energy in acting in such a transcendental way.
So Om Tat Tat is a very important hymn that one should perform before any action, so that it is offered to Krishna. Right? So when one performs penance, charity, sacrifice with these three words, he is acting in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a scientific execution of transcendental activities which enable one to return home back to Godhead. There is no loss of energy in acting in such a transcendental way. So one should act in transcendental way.
Prabhuji, I had a question.
Yes.
We are saying Om when we are invoking other gods also, right? Like when we say Mahamrityunjaya mantra, it is Om Bhurбhuva Swaha. And when we are doing Pratna to Ganpati, then also we are saying Om. So by doing this, we are invoking Krishna also?
Yes. Because everybody is but part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So Om is always a must because one should address the absolute truth first. Right? For example, if suppose there is a meeting in which your local MLA is there, or a local state leader is there, and then Prime Minister is there. Even though the program is mainly because of the work done by the local leader, Prime Minister is always addressed in that because his part is there, because he has to sanction at some level, right? So ultimately everything is done with the sanction of the Supreme or the head. So Om is a must. One must acknowledge Krishna. So that is the reason. If you look at any sacrifice, you perform this Devi Puja, that Devi Puja, Lord Shiva Puja, that this, anything. Always the mantras end with Sarvam Krishna Arpanam. Whatever is done, ultimately for the satisfaction of Lord Krishna. It's acknowledged in all pujas. Why? Because that is the ultimate deity, and everybody is but part and parcel of his, the supreme deity. So that is the reason all the Vedic hymns or the pujas rituals end with that saying. There's a beautiful sloka, I don't remember, but so that fully means this. It's meant for the satisfaction of Krishna. So Vedic scriptures clearly acknowledge the supremacy of Krishna. Even though every puja, so that is why every mantra begins with Om, because Om, the Krishna part, is addressed in that.
Sure, thank you, Prabhuji.
Tasmad Om iti udahritya
Tasmat Om iti udhritya
yajnadana tapah kriya
yajnadana tapah kriya
pravartante vidhanokta
pravartante vidanokta
satatam brahmavadinam.
Satatam
satatam
Brahmavadinam.
brahmavadinam.
Please read.
Therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performances of sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the Supreme.
See, it's a very important verse. It's transcendentalists, those who know the absolute truth. You perform any sacrifice, such a person, if he performs any sacrifice, charity, penance, in accordance with scriptural regulations, because they follow only scripture, they don't concoct, create their own teachings or ideas. So they always begin with word Om to attain the Supreme. So they always begin with Om. Yeah, please read this. Om Tad Vishnu.
Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam, Rigveda. The lotus feet of Vishnu are the supreme devotional platform. The performance of everything on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead assures the perfection of all activity.
So if Lord Vishnu is satisfied, perfection is going to be guaranteed. Because he is the ultimate personality to be satisfied. Tad iti. So when I say Lord Vishnu, you all understand the difference between Vishnu and Krishna? Yeah. Okay, Mataji. Sweta Mataji, you can leave. Yeah. Oh, she already left. Yeah. So what is the difference between Vishnu and Krishna? Anybody want to answer?
Krishna is highest. Vishnu, Krishna, I mean, he is split in the form of Karanodika Sai Vishnu, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. The main incarnation is Krishna.
Yeah. So
Vishnu is
all
from
the
Krishna.
Vishnu forms are but expansions of Krishna, right? So
Yes.
they are all the same. It's like, suppose there is one diya, one lamp. You all know Kartik month, we all light a lamp, right? So if suppose one lamp and you lighted 20 other lamps with one lamp, will all the 20 lamps look like the first lamp? Yes, they all are one and the same in terms of power and potency. So the same Krishna expands into various forms to perform various activities. Right? So those are all those incarnations, those are all those expansions. And all of these in general are called Vishnu avatars. It's not like Vishnu is the source of avatars. Vishnu is a tattva. Right? Just like we're all called Jiva tattva. Similarly, Vishnu tattva, Vishnu category. Right? Vishnu tattva means Vishnu category. So all the incarnations like Rama, Narasimha, Vamana, right? So these are all Vishnu avatars, Vishnu incarnations. Balaram, Lakshman, so they're all Vishnu avatars, right? So they are self-same Krishna, but Krishna is the source, and these are all his expansions, right? And all these are in categorically called Vishnu tattvas. They're different than Jiva tattvas. For example, our consciousness is only spread within the body. Vishnu's consciousness is everywhere, means he knows everybody and everything. Everything is part of his. So that is Vishnu consciousness. Our consciousness is limited. So that is the main difference between Vishnu and Krishna, Vishnu and Jiva. So Vishnu Tattva refers to all incarnations of Vishnu in general, right? Especially the mode of goodness incarnation called the Vishnu, Kshirodak Sai Vishnu, who is the three predominating deities of the material world. The three predominating deities of material world are Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu. That Vishnu is actually called Kshirodak Sai Vishnu. He is in the causal ocean, right? So that Vishnu is there, individually. Per universe, there is one, that Kshirodak Sai Vishnu. Yeah, so he's there, and so that personality, he is that Guna avatar. He's a Guna avatar, right? And then Lord Shiva is also a Guna avatar. He is in charge of mode of passion. Ignorance. And then Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is not even Vishnu Tattva. He is a Jiva Tattva. He is like us, but he's somebody who is given the post of Brahmaji, the creator of the secondary creator of the universe. So that is the difference between the incarnations. Right? Yeah.
So these three gods, Prabhu, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Brahma is Jiva Tattva, Vishnu is Vishnu Tattva, and Shiva is
Shiva is Shambhu Tattva. Shambhu
Shambhu.
Tattva is like a slight dilution of Vishnu Tattva. It's almost the same. But for the purpose of material creation, Lord touches the material nature. When he touches the material nature, Vishnu Tattva transforms into Shambhu Tattva. So he is the same Vishnu, but slightly tinged with the mode of ignorance. So that is why he is the in charge of mode of ignorance. So he takes care of both the Preta Prasachas. He stays in Smashanas. So he's called Bholanath because he takes care of the most wretched people in the existence. For everybody,
And he is responsible for destruction whenever required, right?
he's also, he's a Mahesh. He's the head of the material universe. He's like local MLA, the head. There's nobody superior to him in a way. He's the so he's not like he's like not like a competent person to Krishna or something. He's an expansion, just like there are Vishnu expansions, Vishnu avatars. There is for material creation and so there are two personalities. One is a transformation of Lakshmi called Durga. The other is transformation of Vishnu called Shiva. These two personalities are the in charge of the material. Durga means she is the in charge of the fortress of material world. Durga, she is a counterpart for Lakshmi, for the material world. Just like in the spiritual world, the queen is Lakshmi. In Vaikuntha, Lakshmi is the queen. In the material world, the queen is Durga. And the master is Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is extremely powerful. He is not like Brahma. Brahma is like you and me, but powerful enough to be the controller of the entire universe. But Shiva is not like that. He's just a slight transformation of Vishnu. He's in powers, he's almost like Vishnu only. But he's also a great devotee of Vishnu. That is whom he meditates always. So you see Lord Shiva sitting in meditation always. And so that is Lord Shiva. So never confuse, I worship Krishna and we don't worship Shiva. In fact, devotees go to Lord Shiva also because he is more pleased with the devotees of Krishna than the devotees of himself. There is a Bhagavatam verse that Lord Shiva says, I am more pleased with the devotees of Vishnu than my own devotees. Because even if a devotee is extremely sincere, but he is a worshipper of Lord Shiva, right? A lot of Lord Shiva bhaktas they want this or that in the material world. They go to Lord Shiva. They don't go to Vishnu for that matter. You see Hiranyakashipu, all these demons, they're all devotees of Lord Shiva or Brahma only. They never go to Vishnu because Vishnu doesn't give. Vishnu is like father. If you ask a father chocolate, will he give? He will give, but he will first make you ready to accept that. First prepare you before you give. He gives. But if you go give some money to a shopkeeper, will he hesitate to give you a chocolate? He will give you a cigarette also, because he doesn't care what happens to you after that. He's not like your own father. So Brahma and Shiva are like that. They don't care what happens to you. They give you whatever you want. You pay the price, I'll give you. Shopkeeper. That is the difference between other deities and Vishnu. Vishnu is like your father. So when Dhruva worshipped, originally desiring a kingdom greater than his own father Uttanapada, he worshipped Vishnu. He didn't worship other demigods. When Lord Vishnu appeared, he immediately lost the desire for kingdom. He didn't want. He said, why am I asking for broken glass when I have the diamond before me? I have you, my Lord. I don't want any of these desires. I really feel very guilty that I have asked you for these material desires. So that is, one second. So that is the mindset of. So that is because Lord, yeah, no, devotee. So that is the mindset of devotees. Yeah. So he transforms you. He corrects your heart before he sanctions the desire. So it is always good to worship Vishnu for whether you have desire or no desire. Worship Vishnu only. If you have a desire, by the time you Lord fulfills your desire, your heart is already purified. Means you don't have any desire for enjoying it. Instead, you do it as a duty by the time you get it. So it's good. It's like a father, right? Father will give only what is good for you. He will not give what is not good for you. So that's the goodness with father. Tad iti anabhisandhaya. Tad iti
Iti anabhisandhyaya
palam yajna tapah kriya.
Palam
palam
yajna
yajna
tapakriya
tapakriya
Kriyascha vividha.
dan
dana
Kriyascha
kriyascha
vividha
vividha
Kriyante moksha
yante
kamshibi.
kriyante
yante
mokshakam
moksha
shivi.
kakshipim vihi.
Yeah, please read.
Without desiring fruitive rituals, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Sat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement.
We perform sacrifice, penance, and charity, but no desire, just as a duty for the satisfaction. Because everything we perform, if we are like a spoke in the wheel, right? Wheel is rotating, wheel is doing its function, but as a spoke, you just need to do your duty, support. That's it. So if we are part and parcel of God, if we perform according to the instructions given by God in the scripture, then you act as the perfect spoke, like in the wheel, right? So you just perform and everything is ultimately beneficial for you. So, and it will also free you from all material entanglement. Yeah. So last two verses of the chapter. Oh, there is one more. Okay. Let's read 3 verses and then we'll wrap up this chapter. Sadbhave sadhubhave cha
sadbhav
Sadbhave sadibhave cha
sadiditi etat prayujyate
sad iti
saditi yat
Prayujyate
previdyate
prasaste karmani tate tata
prasaste karmani
prasante
tate tatha
karmani tata
Sachadbha pardayujyate
sacha
Satyat
Saccadha
prata yujyate
Yujyate
tapasi dane cha
yagne
Ye
yagne
tapasi
japasvi
dane cha
dane cha
iti sad iti chochyate
Siti Sati
Satyat iti
Chochyate
choyate
machaiva tadadhiyam
Karma
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 Chaiva
chaiva tad
Tadadhyam
adya
sad iti eva vidhiyate.
sad
tad
iti
Sad
iti
iti eva
eva vidityate.
Vidhyate.
Please read.
The
the absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called Sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance, and charity, which, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O Son of Pritha.
So, objective of the sacrifice. What is the objective of sacrifice? God, absolute truth. Whatever you do, ultimate enjoyer, if you consider that God is the ultimate enjoyer, if you, whatever duties you perform at your home, everything is Bhagavad Arpanam. Everything I am doing for the sacrifice, it is for the satisfaction of God. I am just nimitta matra, I am just doing for the satisfaction of God. All the works, all the sacrifices, all the penances, all the charity. So everything for the satisfaction of God, right? So then that will please the Supreme Person, right? So we should perform our actions just as a duty for the satisfaction of God. Yeah. Asraddhaya hutam dattam
Asraddhaya
Bhutam dattam
astaptam kritam chayet
tapastaptam kritam chayat
sad iti uchyate pardha
tad
Asad
iti uchyate partha
satat pretya naiha noiha.
Nachata
tat pretyano iha.
Yeah, please read.
Anything done as sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme, O son of Pruta, the impermanent, it is called asat and is useless both in this life and the next.
Wow. So if you read this, what will you? So you see, Bill Gates donates all his wealth, 98%.
Mhm.
I don't think he thinks about God at all in his equation. So what is Krishna saying? Such result is asad, false, and it is temporary. Right? So it is called asat and is useless. This life. See, even in this life, it is useless, and in the next. You see, so he is such a rich person, but why is he going through such challenges in life at this time? Nothing is helping him, frankly, in this life or the next. So you can see, the scriptures are always truthful. If something is performed without faith in the God, it's useless. Sacrifice or penance, anything. Yeah, please read a little more here.
Anything done without the transcendental objective, whether it be sacrifice, charity, or penance, is useless. Therefore, in this verse, it is declared that such activities are abominable. Everything should be done for the Supreme in Krishna consciousness. Without such faith and without the proper guidance, there can never be any fruit. In all the Vedic scriptures, faith in the Supreme is advised. In the pursuit of all Vedic instructions, the ultimate goal is the understanding of Krishna. No one can obtain success without following this principle. Therefore, the best course is to work from very beginning in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master. That is the way to make everything successful.
Yeah. So always work under the guidance of a guru, ideally, at least based on Bhagavad Gita. Should not be random. So always check with other senior devotees if you have questions. So always, do it for the satisfaction of God. Sorry. So that ends the chapter. Any questions or any discussions you have? So next week we'll begin the next chapter, 18th, the final chapter, and a very important chapter also. So thank you all very much. If you have no questions, we can end the class here.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol Maharaj.
Thank you, Ji. Hare Krishna.